Hey guys, welcome back to World of Tanks. My name is Bruce and today I want to present the new British Tier 8 wheeled medium tank, the Saladin. How good is this tank and can it compete against regular medium tanks on its tier? Let's find out in this video. The British wheeled medium tech tree is the second one in the game which incorporates wheeled tanks. Apart from the French wheeled lights, those British tanks are actually medium tanks. Now, many players think those tanks close the gap between mids and lights, even on lower tiers. But is this true? In today's video, I want to present the tier 8 tank, the Saladin. In this video, I will tell you how it competes against its premium brother, the WoT 1010, and all the other tier 8 medium tanks. So without further ado, let's jump into the first game and talk about its strengths and weaknesses. But before we start with the very first game, let me quickly show you how I have set up this tank. So I play the Saladin with improved ventilation, with coated optics, and then also with the CVS. And I think the CVS is better compared to the exhaust system, but you can only use CVS from tier 8 upward. You could also argue to play this tank with a turbo instead of ventilation to actually increase the already good mobility of this tank. Now don't you worry, the crew is actually right now below 100% because I already transitioned from the tier 8 Saladin to the tier 9 WoT 1006, but nonetheless I want to show you my crew. So the commander does have the view range skills, so recon and situational awareness. He also has concealment. He's now working on repairs, and I think repairs is extremely important for the British wheeled medium tanks, because as soon as one wheel is damaged, then your speed is reduced significantly. So my gunner has brothers in arms, then concealment and intuition, and is now also working on repairs. And then the driver has brothers in arms, has smooth ride, concealment, and is now working on off-road driving. So this is how I have set up the Saladin, and let's now for sure start with the first game. Alright, first game in the tier 8 Saladin. We are spawning on Malinovka in the south, and let's first of all take a look at the map and see what options we have. Spawning on Malinovka in the south with the Saladin, you have several options. What I prefer is I like to go to this position right here because there's a nice bush, and from this bush you can basically spot heavy tanks, at least slow heavy tanks, which are approaching the hill, and get maybe 1 or 2 shots at the very beginning of the game. Then later on I like to proceed to this position where usually your light tank also moves at, and I like to go to this ditch in order to spot this portion of the map from this bush right here, and then with doing so you can basically win this portion of the map, at least if your heavy tanks have won the hill. Alright, so as we are in a low tier situation, I want to play a bit more defensively and not instantaneously move into the D6 position, where the position that is just pinged. You know what, I wanted to show you this replay because I want to present the spotting capabilities of this tank. If you've watched my video about the FSV Scheme Alpha, you know that this tier 7 British wheeled medium tank certainly can be considered as a medium light tank hybrid. Now, how good is the spotting capability of the Saladin? So if we take a look at the statistics, we can see that we have 380 meters of view range, which is good, but nothing out of the ordinary. Now, same applies for the camo values. So the stationary camo is 16.13 and the moving camo is 12.08. This is a relatively, I would say it's a slightly above average value. However, once again, nothing out of the ordinary. And we get a shot. Nice. The gun handling is nice, but we'll come to this later. Now, if we take a quick comparison to the T-44, which is another tier 8 medium tank with 250 alpha damage. Oh, thanks for pushing me down. Which has considerably more armor, then you can see that the spotting abilities of this tank are basically exactly the same. So, but this tank once again has much more armor. Plus, if you would say that if the Saladin wants to be the perfect light medium tank hybrid, then it needs to compete against the WoT, at least when it comes to spotting ability. And as you can see, the WoT is much better when it comes to camo value, but also much better when it comes to view range, or not much better, but a tiny touch better. And so overall it is the much better spotter. And so what I want to tell you is this tank does not really fulfill the role of a medium light tank hybrid, simply because the competition on tier 8 is so strong. And that is the problem, which kind of is very sad for this tank, because we'll come to this later, but the rest of the statistics is not, let's say, nothing out of the ordinary as well. So, okay, we finally managed to go into this position, and as you can see on the minimap, we do have a problem in this game, because there's really not support. We are not supported whatsoever by our team, because our team has fallen back, and now we even get a shot by the Sharp Future 4, which has already advanced in the south. So we have to make sure that we are not spotted, and now we have to run, and we simply have to fall back, because the position where the CS-52 Liz is positioned right now is completely useless, because there's no support, because our team has already lost the southern portion and basically the whole portion where our cap is located. And so I make a decision, and I want to simply proceed to this bush here and simply maintain in this bush. Now there's no light tank in the game, at least on the enemy side, and so this is where I can try to be the spotter for my team. In this tank you cannot really compete with light tanks, because light tanks are much stronger. You also cannot compete against let's say medium light tank hybrids like the WoT. But besides this, if those tanks are deleted and are sent back to the garage, then this is where your tank can shine. And that's what I wanted to show you in this replay. So we simply want to go into this central position and then spot for our team. Due to the very bad map control that our team has achieved, and I think it's mainly because our team did not push the hill in the first place, we will most likely lose the game. However, we can at least try to get those tanks spotted, so that they can be taken under fire by our remaining tanks in our base, or at the 0 lane. And so that's what I want to do. So I want to stay in this position, in this bush, actually do nothing, and simply hope that my team can get some damage onto the tanks that I can spot. You know what, maybe I can take a shot, but I think I should be, yep, here you go. Nice. And so at least we are now collecting spotting damage. Okay, here's the Kunze-Panzer running into our base. This is actually very bad, because yep, he is now, yeah, okay, he will certainly spot the tanks that are in our base. And you know what, I think I might be able to take a shot. And the Shark Future 4 is behind the building, so he will not spot me if I take a shot. And the Sherman Revalorisé actually also does not spot me, so I can continue to shoot onto this tank, because it's super important that he is taken out of this game. Let's look at what the Shark Future 4 is doing. He's still behind the building, so he's not spotting me, which is excellent. So we could take out or help our team to take out the Kunze-Panzer, which is very important. And now we simply want to maintain in this position and try to outspot the adversary tanks. And here you go, this tank is advancing, and I do not want to take a shot, because then I will get spotted. And the highest priority right now in this game is that I do not get spotted. And as long as those tanks keep advancing slowly, they will be taken under fire by my team. So, there you go. We're collecting spotting damage. That's what I want to see. The Sharp Future 4 is advancing. And here you go. He's taken out by our team. Nice. Alright. We can spot the Revalorisé in this position and also the Stritzwagen. And now, hopefully, our team will be able to take those tanks under fire. Nice. And we can collect more damage. Now, I think the game is still... Well, it's still doable. However, we need a bit of luck. Hopefully, yep, looks like the Stritzwagen doesn't even spot us. So I think this is a good example on how good the spotting abilities of this tank are. It's certainly an above average spotter compared to the other medium tanks on tier 8, and that's simply something I wanted to show you. So yes, it kind of fills a niche, however it is not as competitive as the, you know, the pro tanks like the WoT and maybe some other tanks on tier 8. But then that is kind of the pay to win story of wargaming, just making the premium tanks a bit better than the tech grade tanks. So this is a problem now. I needed to kill this tank because otherwise he would have spotted me, and now I need to run for my life, and that's where the drawback of this tank starts. So take a look at the tank traverse, and yeah, as soon as you get hit into your wheels, your tank decelerates quickly, significantly. And so this is another drawback of those British wheeled medium tanks. As soon as you get shot, as soon as you get damage to your tracks, sorry, not to your tracks, but to your wheels, you lose speed so significantly compared to other tanks, compared to, for example, the French light tanks. And alongside with your simply out of the window tank traverse speed, you don't have a chance of running away. Anyway, I think this was a good example of the spotting abilities of this tank, and let's now talk about the other stats in the next game. Okay, second game. This time we are spawning in a tier 8 match on Glacier in the north, and let's first of all take a look at the map and see what options we have. Spawning on Glacier in the north with the medium tank, you have several options. You can go down here and play on the 0 lane, however I think the middle is much more important. So what I like to do is I like to go here and try to get first cross shots onto tanks which are proceeding on top of the hill, for example light tanks. Then later on what I want to do is I want to proceed on top of the hill in order to create a crossfire situation from here or maybe from here towards the enemy heavy tanks, so that my heavy tanks can win this portion of the map, and then from here I can go to this position here and try to spot in the enemy base, and then I can also fall back and maybe advance like this in order to clear the enemy base. Alright, so with this tank, and actually with every other tank, almost every other tank, I like to go to the middle and see whether I can, let's say, punish tanks which are proceeding on top of the hill. But as you can see, there are only 2 medium tanks in the game, a very strange matchmaking, and so chances are that the medium tanks will actually not go on top of the hill. So we spot the T-25-2, we are also spotted, and you know what, so let's hide from the 2 artilleries until we're not spotted anymore. And then I think it is time for ourselves to go on top of the hill. And as you can see, our CS52 Liz has the same idea. Looks like he didn't take any shot whatsoever, and so I think we can be pretty successful with also joining him on top of the hill. Now let's first of all let's take a look at the mobility of this tank. And at the first glance it doesn't look too bad actually, with 60 kph top speed, with a power to weight ratio of 23.86, which is actually pretty nice. But once again, if you compare this tank to other tanks, yes, it is above average when it comes to mobility. So much better than the T-44. But if you take a look at the WoT, then you can see that the WoT is as fast as this tank. Plus it has the better power to weight ratio. Plus it has the much better terrain resistance values. And I think the terrain resistance values are what holds this tank back and also the other British wheeled medium tanks. And I think this is kind of a very sad story, because in my opinion those tanks should be super mobile compared to other medium tanks. Anyway, so I think the mobility is slightly above average, however disappointing in the overall perspective of this tank. Okay, so we managed to win the hill, and now we simply want to delete this tiger. Nice. And we want to exploit the fact that we have won this strategic position. Now, in my opinion, you should never allow the adversary team to win the hill, because from the hill you can more often than not basically control at least a huge portion of the map. Okay, so you know what, let's fall back here. Hopefully the Chrysler does not move out of cover, because then we have a problem. Here you go, he misses his shot, which is excellent. And now, you know what, let's not try to brawl a 1v1 against the Chrysler GF. I think I will wait until he has taken a shot and then move to the other side of the hill and maybe get one shot onto him while he is targeting the other tanks of our team. Hopefully the T-29 is making pressure now, and as soon as the T-29 will take a shot, then I will move out of cover and give one shot in return. That's my game plan. Hopefully the Zoo 130 is moving along the A lane, because I think we can build up pressure and create a, let's say, a 3v1 situation. But unfortunately the Zoo 130 PM is a very defensive player, so is the 50 TP prototype player, and you know what, we will simply try to advance. The Chrysler GF is behind the rock. Now he's moving backward. That maybe we can take a shot from the top of the hill. Let's see. And let's see, you know what, I think I should turn around my tank in order to evade out of the situation more quickly once he reverses and tries to focus me. Oh, here you go. The tiger is spotted. Nice. So, you know what, we will simply take... Oh, here you go. And bam. Nice. Excellent. So, yeah. I think at this portion we should take a look at the statistics of the gun. And as you can see, this tank, just like the other British wheeled medium tanks, does have a very poor damage per minute. On the other hand, the gun is relatively precise with 0.32 dispersion and with good dispersion values while on the move. So, and I kind of understand that those tanks should have a, let's say, below average DPM, because what counts in World of Tanks is your effective DPM. And what do I mean with effective DPM? I mean, if you have a bad gun handling, then you will not make every shot. And so if you have a very good DPM on paper, then this will mean that the effective DPM is reduced and is lower. Now, on the other hand, if your DPM is low, then this, but your gun handling is superior, then this will not change absolutely anything about the effective damage per minute, because you will make most likely every shot that you try to take. And so I think this is what, okay, you should not jump with this tank. And I think this is what those British wheeled medium tanks really achieve. That is, at least they are able to take everything out of the very bad damage per minute, which they certainly have on paper. Alright, enough said about the precise gun, and now it is time to keep this T-28 prototype spotted so that we get assisting damage from our team. Unfortunately, I underestimate the gun depression of this tank, which is good. And I think I should really now try to save my hit points much better than compared to the previous game. Excellent. Nice. 800 spotting damage. Oh, and once again a shot by the T28. And okay. That was really, really bad, but at least I get some more additional... nice. And now he's taken out. Excellent. And so, yeah. Pretty decent result in this game. And now it is time to take another shot onto this thing. And I mean, take a look at the gun handling. The gun handling is really nice. And I would say 250 alpha damage is not the best alpha damage on tier 8. It is okay for a medium tank. Could be worse, but nothing out of the ordinary. Okay, so... But as I said, with this precise gun, you basically make every shot if you at least aim a little bit. Okay, so this tank is taken out, and now we should rush to the adversary artilleries. And yeah, I want to reload HE for the next shot. In this tank you have 45mm of penetration on your HE and making 320 damage. But the problem about taking HE is it is a gamble. It is a gamble whether it works or not. And okay, he wants to take a shot. Okay, yeah, as you can see, super disappointing, because I mean, if you don't make your shot, then this increased DPM doesn't mean absolutely anything. Okay, nonetheless, a pretty decent game in this tank, and I think what helps this tank is a battle which is slow, a battle in which the adversary team is not rushing a flank, and certainly a match in which you are not in a low tier situation, because the spotting ability is reduced, at least compared to the tier 7 tank, plus the alpha damage is on the okay to slightly below average side. The gun handling is good, the speed is good, but nothing out of the ordinary. And so all in all, I really think this tank is kind of the stinker in the line, and nothing out of the ordinary that you should keep in your garage. But you know what, let's go into the next game and see what we can achieve with the Saladin. Alright, last game in the Saladin. We are spawning on Safe Haven, and let's first of all take a look at the map and see what options we have. Spawning on Safe Haven in the east, there are not too many options for you in your Saladin. First of all, what you do not want to do is you do not want to brawl against the adversary heavy tanks, because you don't have any armor whatsoever. Now, in my opinion, there are basically two options. One is to play a bit more defensively here where the tank destroyers are situated, but I want to proceed here and either get cross shots onto those tanks right here. Maybe one tank is proceeding on top of this building right here, but then also maybe, depending on the situations and depending on the lightings, I can also spot for my team and then help my tank destroyers to get one or another shot. Alright, so that's where we want to go. Now, unfortunately, we are spawning in a tier 10 match, and yeah, with 250 alpha damage, you are really not so much competitive against the other tanks. So we'll see how it goes. And in this game, I want to kind of draw a conclusion about this tank and give you my overall opinion. So first of all, let's concentrate on the game, and this was once again a game in which we did not have a light tank, so I tried to kind of take over this, at least the medium light tank hybrid role, and kind of spot for my team. Now, the problem is, in the adversary team, we have a WoT, we have a GSOR 1010, so tanks which can certainly be also a good spotter, and can maybe even be a better spotter, at least the WoT. So I need to play cautiously even in such a situation in which my strength is actually not my gunnery, not my tank itself, but my spotting ability. And so yeah, kind of a disappointing aspect, if you will, that this tank can actually not compete with some other light tank, or sorry, medium tanks, which can take over the light tank role. Okay, let's track him once again. No, it actually did not work, and I get punished here by all the other tanks. And as you can see, there's only the Cobra and the Scorpion G, so I want to fall back. And okay, he's now taken out. Excellent. I want to fall back because I've lost basically about half of my HP, and those tanks, as they already show that they will only play super defensively, and as the adversary team is pushing super aggressively, chances are that there are more tanks. Yeah, this tank is even pushing. Yeah, okay. I think I can expect the adversary team to push aggressively. Okay, the Scorpion G is already sent back into the garage, and so I need to run and simply fall back because the Cobra will get taken out of the game very soon as well. Yeah, okay. Very sad story, and we simply have to fall back and see whether we can at least get some more damage in this game. Yeah. So let's see. You know what? I think I will simply move all the way back, I assume, because yep, those tanks will push to the position where the Char Future 4 is located. And let me see. Yep, please move out of cover. Oh, that was super unfortunate. I bounce at the turret of the CS 59. Here we go. And let's see whether we can take another shot. Okay, once again, super unfortunate. Yeah, alright, so here go, maybe now, here go. At least 950 damage. Can we get another shot? Here go, nice, we can even track him. Here go. And nice. Okay, yeah. So that actually works. The gun handling is not too bad. Really above average. But once again, the problem is the DPM in this scenario. So yeah, what else can we do? I think we once again have to reload. Now, what is my conclusion about this tank? Well, once again, I think this tank is an overall stinker of this new British wheeled tech tree. I think those tanks are not the best ones overall from tier 5 on up to tier 10, so they will not set the standard for medium tanks in the game, which is alright because they are very interesting. They are a new branch of vehicles, so I think it is the right decision to not make them overpowered and not make them the new stars on, you know, in World of Tanks. But in my opinion, those tanks are balanced too much, and this applies especially for the Saladin on tier 8. This tank has nothing in particular, nothing which sets him apart from other tanks. It is relatively fast, however there are a lot of tanks which are as fast as this tank, and also tanks which are faster. This tank has good spotting capabilities, but there are other tanks which are simply the better spotters, even medium tanks on tier 8. This tank has a good gun and a precise gun with 250 alpha damage. However, there are lots of tanks which also have a precise gun and which have much better DPM. And there are even autoloader tanks like the WoT 46 which have a better DPM compared to this tank. So all in all, and plus you have the drawback of having wheels, and those British wheel tanks have a very bad tank traverse stats. Plus they have the drawback that as soon as your wheels get destroyed, your speed is reduced significantly. Plus yeah, the terrain resistance values are also super bad. And so those tanks, besides, you know, being relatively balanced, have some unique drawbacks compared to other tanks. And as this tier 8 tank, the Saladin, does not have any particular strength, I think it is a very lackluster tank. And I think in a couple of weeks or month, we will see this tank at the bottom of the statistic when it comes to tier 8 medium tanks. So overall, I have to say I did not enjoy playing this tank too much. And I was really happy once I got rid of this tank and jumped to the tier 9 tank. And I certainly do not keep this tank in my garage. So it's a bit unfortunate that I have to make such a review, but in my opinion, this is kind of the stinker in the line. And the tier 7 tank is much better, and I think the tier 9 tank is also much better than compared to this tank. Alright guys, that was it for today with the video about the new tier 8 British wheeled medium tank, the Saladin. Do you like this tank? Do you like the new British wheeled tech tree line? Just leave a comment in the comment section down below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Consider subscribing to my channel, and I see you next time in another World of Tanks video.